The quantum communication device sparked and crackled, its prototype casing barely containing the raw energy coursing through its experimental circuitry. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's fingers flew across the holographic interface, her augmented reality contact lenses displaying a cascade of quantum entanglement data that would have driven lesser minds to madness. Outside the lab's reinforced windows, New Sao Paulo sprawled, a vertical metropolis of interconnected arcologies that spoke to humanity's resilience. Massive environmental reconstruction towers jutted between buildings, filtering air and generating oxygen for millions. It was a city that embodied humanity's defiance against both planetary collapse and extraterrestrial threats. A proximity alarm chirped. Elena didn't look up, her muscle memory taking over. 3 rapid keystrokes activated the lab's defensive protocols. Microscopic nanite swarms began to coalesce around the most critical research modules, preparing to disintegrate sensitive data at a moment's notice. The mercenaries were good, almost too good. They moved with the precision of ex-military special forces, their adaptive camouflage making them nearly invisible against the lab's complex background. But Elena had been preparing for this moment her entire life. Her left hand touched a seemingly innocuous pendant around her neck, a quantum entanglement relay disguised as a simple piece of jewelry. A silent message went out, a quantum-encrypted pulse that would activate a network of hidden allies across the globe. The first mercenary breached the inner laboratory, his pulse rifle sweeping the room. Elena appeared to be completely absorbed in her work, her back turned. But her neural implant was already tracking his every movement, calculating trajectories, predicting potential attack vectors. Dr. Rodriguez, the mercenary's voice was a synthesized monotone, designed to be unnerving. Step away from the research. This doesn't have to become violent. A holographic display flickered to life behind Elena, showing what appeared to be mundane research data. In reality, it was an elaborate misdirection, a quantum-encrypted data stream that was simultaneously backing up her most critical research and sending out a global alert. The mercenary team had been hired by the Orion Syndicate, a powerful consortium of alien-aligned corporate interests that had long suppressed human technological advancement. They believed in maintaining the galactic status quo, with humanity firmly at the bottom of the technological hierarchy. What they didn't know was that Elena had been preparing for this moment her entire life. Her parents had been researchers on the first human deep space exploration mission. That mission had ended in what was officially called an incident, a euphemism for a systematic destruction that left no survivors. Elena knew the truth. They had discovered something the galactic powers wanted to remain hidden. The second mercenary entered, moving with calculated precision. Elena's neural implant tracked their thermal signatures, weapon signatures, even their breathing patterns. Professional, dangerous, but predictable. A nanite swarm began to coalesce around her workstation, preparing for potential data extraction or destruction. The quantum communication device continued to pulse, its energy signature deliberately masked to appear like standard research equipment. Last warning, the lead mercenary said, his pulse rifle now trained directly on Elena's back. She turned, a small smile playing on her lips. In her hand was a device that looked like nothing more than an advanced data storage unit. But those who knew her understood it was far more dangerous. "You have no idea what you're walking into," Elena said softly. The quantum communication device pulsed once, twice. On the third pulse, the lab's entire electronic ecosystem transformed. Defensive systems that had been lurking dormant suddenly sprang to life. Adaptive electromagnetic fields created localized interference patterns that began to destabilize the mercenaries' advanced weaponry. Her neural implant was more than just a communication device. It was a quantum computing system that could hack, redirect, and completely neutralize technological systems faster than human perception could track. The mercenaries realized too late that they weren't dealing with a simple researcher. They were facing a technological apex predator who had spent her entire life preparing for this moment of confrontation. As alarms blared and the lab's defensive systems engaged, Elena Rodriguez allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The research would survive. Humanity's last, best hope was about to be unleashed. And the galaxy would never see it coming. The Global Mobilization Command Center hummed with a controlled chaos that would have been impossible just months ago. General Marcus Chen stood before a holographic globe, watching as cities transformed into fortresses in real time. Bangkok's vertical farms were now camouflaged missile silos. Mumbai's transportation network had become a mobile communication relay system. Lagos had converted its entire urban infrastructure into a distributed quantum computing network. Humanity was no longer just defending. They were reimagining survival. Chen's cybernetic eye, a replacement from his last encounter with alien pacification forces, zoomed in on a particular data stream. Intelligence reports suggested the Orion Syndicate was tracking Elena Rodriguez's quantum research, but something felt off. Too clean. Too predictable. Director Yamamoto. He called to his chief of intelligence. Run a tertiary quantum analysis on these communication patterns. Akira Yamamoto, a woman whose body was more advanced prosthetics than original biology, approached the holographic display. Her augmented fingers danced through multiple data layers, revealing hidden patterns that most would miss. There, she said, highlighting a microscopic anomaly. Someone wants us to think we're being tracked, but this is a deliberate misdirection. The command center was a testament to human adaptation. Located deep beneath the ends, it was a marvel of engineering. Part military installation, part scientific research hub, part human preservation project. Every surface was adaptive, every system redundant, every person cross-trained for multiple critical functions. Chen knew their preparation wasn't just about technology. It was about fundamentally changing how humanity perceived itself. No longer victims, no longer a species waiting to be conquered. A young lieutenant approached, her augmented neural interface flickering with incoming data. Sir, we've completed the global communication network integration. Dr. Rodriguez's quantum communication protocol is now active in 97.3% of our critical infrastructure. The implications were staggering. They weren't just building a defense network, they were creating a living, breathing technological organism that could adapt faster than any known alien system. In orbit, what appeared to be standard communication satellites were actually something far more complex. Each was a quantum-entangled node capable of redirecting, scrambling, or completely overwhelming any incoming alien communication or tracking systems. Chen's mind drifted to the personal cost of their preparation. The training camps were brutal, not just in physical demands, but psychological conditioning. Every citizen was now a potential resistance fighter, trained in everything from guerrilla tactics to emergency quantum communication protocols. Schools had been transformed. Children learned advanced tactical thinking alongside traditional education. Survival was no longer an abstract concept. It was a lived reality. Show me the latest refugee integration reports, Chen commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing a complex network of underground and orbital habitats. Millions who had been displaced by previous alien peacekeeping operations were now being transformed into a distributed, resilient human network. Yamamoto highlighted a particularly interesting development. The refugee quantum computing collectives are showing unprecedented problem-solving capabilities. Their distributed neural networks are creating solution matrices we couldn't have predicted. It was more than just preparation. It was evolution in real time. A secure quantum communication channel flickered to life. Dr. Rodriguez's image appeared, partially holographic, partially quantum-encrypted data stream. "We've got a problem," she said without preamble. "The Orion Syndicate is adapting faster than we anticipated. They're not just tracking us. They're trying to infiltrate our quantum communication network." Chen's cybernetic eye zoomed in, analyzing every microscopic detail of her transmission. Specifics. "They've developed a quantum decryption algorithm that can potentially breach our communication protocols within 72 hours, Rodriguez explained. Her image flickered, a deliberate technique to mask her actual location. We need to implement the Lazarus Protocol. The Lazarus Protocol was their most closely guarded contingency, a complete system reset and transformation that would render their entire technological infrastructure unreadable to any external analysis. Understood, Chen responded. Initiation sequence begins in T-2 hours. As Rodriguez's transmission ended, Chen turned to Yamamoto. Activate Global Preparation Sequence, Alpha 9. No one sleeps. No one stops. The command center erupted into controlled motion. Humanity was no longer preparing to be conquered. They were preparing to conquer. Outside the underground facility, the world continued its seemingly normal rhythm. But beneath the surface, a transformation was happening. A species was rewriting its own destiny, one quantum byte at a time. The alien fleet materialized in Earth's orbital space, like a nightmare-given geometric form. Thousands of ships, each a perfect crystalline structure that defied human understanding of engineering, hung against the backdrop of blue and green. Their arrival was silent, precise, a mathematical statement of overwhelming force. Captain Zarak of the Convergence Armada studied the planet below with a mixture of clinical detachment and ancestral arrogance. Humanity was another footnote in the galactic archives, another primitive species to be cataloged and controlled. His neural implants processed millions of potential invasion scenarios, each one ending with swift, total submission. What Zarak didn't know was that every single one of those scenarios was being simultaneously analyzed, predicted, and countered by a distributed human network that was anything but primitive. In low Earth orbit, what appeared to be standard communication satellites began to shift. Microscopic quantum nodes realigned, creating a living, breathing network that was more organism than machine. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from her hidden quantum control center, her neural interface dancing across multiple dimensional layers of communication and potential outcomes. First wave incoming, she muttered to herself, though no one else was present. The alien communication protocols began their standard pacification sequence, a method that had subjugated hundreds of civilizations. Massive energy signatures prepared to broadcast cognitive dampening frequencies designed to induce compliance and reduce resistance. Nothing happened. Zarak's first indication that something was wrong came when his ship's primary communication arrays began to fracture, not break. Fracture. Like a perfect crystal suddenly developing impossible, intricate fault lines that shouldn't exist. Quantum intrusion detected, his ship's AI reported in a voice deliberately modulated to prevent panic. Source: unknown. But it wasn't unknown. Not to Elena Rodriguez. Each alien communication channel became a battlefield. Where the aliens expected to find predictable electronic pathways, they instead encountered a living, adaptive network that seemed to anticipate their every move. Quantum entanglement protocols that should have been impossible began to dance across their systems. On the bridge of the lead alien vessel, Captain Zarak watched in growing disbelief as his tactical displays transformed. Star charts warped. Navigation systems twisted. Communication relays became nonsensical landscapes of impossible data. "This is not possible," he whispered, a rare moment of uncertainty breaking through his species' legendary composure. Aboard the hidden human command center, General Marcus Chen allowed himself the smallest of smiles. "Engage Phase 2, he commanded. What followed was not a traditional battle. It was a complete deconstruction of alien technological superiority. Human ships, seemingly primitive craft that looked like little more than modified orbital construction vessels, began to move. But their movement defied every known law of spatial navigation. They didn't just dodge alien weapons. They seemed to exist in multiple potential locations simultaneously. Elena's quantum communication network was more than a defensive system. It was a living, adaptive intelligence that was learning and evolving with each microsecond of interaction. Zarak realized the terrible truth. They were not fighting a military. They were engaging with an entirely new form of technological existence. Quantum communication channels became weaponized information streams. Each transmission carried not just data, but potential realities. The aliens found themselves drowning in a sea of possible outcomes, each more destabilizing than the last. "Full defensive protocols," Zarak commanded, but even as the words left his communication interface, he knew they were meaningless. Humanity had transformed warfare from a physical confrontation to a dimensional chess match, where the board itself was constantly changing. Massive alien capital ships began to experience systemic failures. Not destructions, controlled, precise failures that demonstrated not just capability, but a terrifying level of technological understanding. It was as if someone was methodically taking apart a complex machine, showing complete comprehension of every microscopic component. The human response was a symphony of technological innovation. Quantum communication nodes that had been disguised as standard communication satellites began to pulse with energy signatures that defied known physics. Captain Zarak's last transmission was a simple, unprecedented admission. "We do not understand." And in that moment of confusion, humanity made its first true statement to the galaxy. "We are not what you expected." The battle for Earth wasn't just beginning. It had already been won, long before the first alien ship arrived. Lieutenant Maya Ortiz gripped the neural interface of her experimental combat vessel, the Prometheus variant. It wasn't a ship in any traditional sense. It was a living mathematical construct, a fusion of human ingenuity and quantum possibilities that defied every known principle of spacecraft design. Her vessel moved through space like a thought-given momentum, existing simultaneously in multiple potential trajectories. Each movement was a complex algorithm, a dance of probability that made traditional combat calculations look like child's play. Target acquiring. Her ship's quantum AI whispered directly into her neural network. But this was no ordinary targeting system. It was a predictive matrix that analyzed not just the current position of enemy vessels, but every potential future interaction. The alien fleet was in disarray, but far from defeated. They were adapting, learning, a trait that had helped them dominate countless civilizations. But humanity was about to teach them a new definition of adaptation. Deep within the Prometheus variant's quantum core, Maya carried more than just a weapon. She carried a message, a quantum-encrypted transmission that was part weapon, part communication, part evolutionary catalyst. Her squadron wasn't composed of traditional pilots. They were post-human warriors, each selected not just for physical capabilities, but for their ability to interface with quantum combat systems, neural networks that could process millions of potential scenarios in microseconds, minds that could become one with their vessels in ways no alien technology could comprehend. Incoming quantum distortion, the ship's AI warned. Maya didn't move, couldn't move. She was the ship. The ship was her. Their consciousness merged in a symbiotic dance that blurred the lines between organic and technological. The alien defensive grid approached, a mathematically perfect barrier that had repelled invasion forces for millennia. Mathematically perfect, that is, until human innovation found its fundamental weakness. "Engage quantum resonance protocol," Maya commanded. What followed was not an attack. It was a conversation conducted in the language of probability and potential. The Prometheus variant began to oscillate at frequencies that shouldn't exist. It wasn't attacking the alien defenses, it was speaking to them, communicating through fundamental universal constants that transcended traditional communication. Each pulse carried information, not just data, but potential realities, scenarios of cooperation, glimpses of alternative evolutionary paths. The ship became a living transmission, a bridge between two fundamentally different understandings of existence. Alien defensive systems began to fracture, not from physical damage, but from a comprehensive recalibration of their fundamental operational parameters. General Chen's voice cut through Maya's neural interface. "Status report." "We're rewriting their operational language," Maya responded. Her words were both a report and a revelation. The battle wasn't about destruction. It was about communication, about showing another civilization that there were entire dimensions of existence they hadn't even conceived. Nearby, other human vessels performed similar quantum interactions. Each was a node in a living, breathing network that was simultaneously a weapon, a communication system, and an evolutionary probe. An alien command vessel suddenly went dark. Not destroyed. Simply recalibrated. Its systems reset to a fundamental state of curiosity rather than aggression. Maya caught a glimpse of the alien crew through quantum-entangled sensors. They weren't experiencing fear. They were experiencing something far more profound, a complete restructuring of their understanding of technological existence. Quantum resonance at 87% efficiency, her ship's AI reported. But Maya understood something deeper. This wasn't just a battle. This was first contact redefined. Humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was offering a new way of understanding the universe. The Prometheus variant pulsed. Another alien vessel's defensive grid began to dissolve, not through force, but through a comprehensive reimagining of its fundamental operational parameters. "We are not your enemy," the quantum transmission whispered. "We are an invitation." Outside, space itself seemed to breathe, shift, reconfigure. Humanity had just demonstrated that the most powerful weapon wasn't destruction. It was understanding. And the galaxy would never be the same. The quantum memory archive activated with a silent pulse that rippled across the galaxy. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had created something far beyond a simple transmission. It was a living narrative engine, a compressed history of humanity that would break through every known barrier of communication. Each quantum packet carried more than information. It carried experience, emotion, the raw, unfiltered essence of human existence. First came the geological memories, the planet's formation. Billions of years of geological transformation compressed into razor-sharp moments of planetary evolution. Alien consciousness began to experience Earth's birth, not as a clinical record, but as a visceral journey through time and matter. Then came the biological memories, the first cellular organisms struggling in primordial seas. The incredible dance of evolution, millions of years of survival, adaptation, and relentless forward momentum compressed into milliseconds of pure experiential data. Alien fleet commanders found themselves drowning in an ocean of human experience. They weren't watching a history. They were living it. A Krulnaxian fleet leader named Zurak experienced the first human toolmaking. His consciousness was suddenly a primitive hominid, feeling the weight of a stone tool, understanding the profound moment of technological birth. The sensation of cold flint against skin, the first moment of understanding that a simple rock could become an extension of will. Another transmission carried the memory of human migrations. Entire civilizations compressed into quantum packets. The desperate journey across frozen land bridges. The courage of people leaving everything behind in search of survival. Memories of cold, of hunger, of unbreakable hope. Agricultural revolution memories followed. The moment humans discovered they could shape their environment. Zurak felt the soil between fingers that were not his own. Experienced the profound connection between human and earth. The magical moment when seeds became sustenance. The quantum transmission wasn't just sending data, it was creating empathy. Technological memories cascaded through alien consciousness. The first electricity. The moment humans broke the sound barrier. The first steps on the moon. Each memory was a punch through the walls of alien preconception. Zurak and his fellow commanders were no longer observers. They were participants in a story larger than their own civilization's understanding. Moments of human vulnerability appeared. Wars, ecological disasters, moments of profound collective failure. But these weren't presented as weaknesses. They were evolutionary lessons, proof of a species capable of recognizing its mistakes and transforming itself. The transmission carried scientific discoveries. The moment DNA was understood, the first fusion reaction, quantum computing breakthroughs. Each discovery was a testament to human curiosity. Cultural memories followed. Music that captured entire emotional landscapes, art that transformed understanding, literature that explored the deepest corners of consciousness. The aliens experienced Shakespeare and jazz. They felt the raw emotion of a Beethoven symphony, understood the complexity of human storytelling. Zurak experienced the moon landing through the eyes of a child watching television. The pure, unbridled wonder, the moment humanity looked beyond its own planet and saw possibility. Personal memories began to interweave. A mother's love, a scientist's breakthrough, a worker's daily struggle, a child's first steps. The quantum transmission was breaking down the wall between collective and individual experience. The alien fleet's communication systems began to transform. They were no longer just receiving information. They were being fundamentally restructured by human experience. Elena Rodriguez watched from her quantum control center. This wasn't just a weapon. It was an invitation, a comprehensive demonstration that humanity was more than a species to be conquered. Transmission at 97% quantum coherence, her system reported. But she knew it was more than a percentage. It was a conversation, a profound, galaxy-altering dialogue conducted in the language of pure experience. Zurak and his fellow commanders were experiencing something unprecedented. They were learning that technological superiority meant nothing compared to the capacity for adaptation, empathy, and growth. The quantum transmission continued, a living bridge between species. Humanity was showing the galaxy not just who they were, but who they could become. And in that moment, everything changed. The Galactic Confederation Assembly Hall fell silent as Dr. Elena Rodriguez and General Marcus Chen materialized, not through traditional transportation, but as a quantum-projected holographic presence that defied every known protocol of diplomatic engagement. They were not asking for permission. They were delivering a message. The assembly chamber itself was a marvel of alien architectural complexity. Thousand-year-old diplomatic chambers that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations now faced something entirely unprecedented. Delegates from over 200 sentient species sat in stunned silence. "We are not here to negotiate," Elena began, her voice simultaneously translated across thousands of linguistic matrices. "We are here to establish new parameters of galactic interaction." Behind her, a dynamic holographic display began to unfold, not a traditional presentation, but a living, breathing visualization of human potential. It showed not just technological capabilities, but the complex network of human adaptation, resilience, and collective problem-solving. Zurak, now serving as a diplomatic liaison after his transformative experience during the quantum memory transmission, watched with a mixture of anticipation and barely contained excitement. He understood something his fellow delegates did not. Humans were not just another species to be categorized. They were a fundamental shift in galactic understanding. General Chen stepped forward, his cybernetic eye scanning the assembly with a precision that made even the most advanced alien sensors seem primitive. "Your current galactic governance model is fundamentally flawed," he stated, not as an accusation, but as a clinical observation. "You manage through control. We propose management through adaptive collaboration." The holographic display began to show complex network models. Each node represented not just a civilization, but a potential collaborative solution. Humans were presenting themselves not as conquerors, but as a catalytic network that could transform existing systems. A Krell-Naxian elder, known for her conservative stance on interspecies relations, finally spoke. "You destroyed a significant portion of our forward reconnaissance fleet. By all established protocols, this demands complete planetary sanction." Elena's response was immediate. "We disabled your fleet. We did not destroy it. There's a significant difference, one you're only beginning to understand." The holographic display shifted, showing the precise quantum interactions that had neutralized the alien fleet. It wasn't destruction. It was a comprehensive system reset that had left every ship intact, its crew unharmed, but its fundamental operational parameters completely transformed. "We are offering something unprecedented," Marcus continued. "Not submission, not conquest, but a fundamental reimagining of interspecies collaboration." Zurak stepped forward, his presence adding weight to the human delegation's statement. They saved us from ourselves, he said to the assembly. Not through violence, through understanding. The display now showed a comprehensive breakdown of human technological and social innovations, climate restoration technologies, quantum communication networks, adaptive governance models. Each innovation was presented not as a weapon, but as a potential solution to long-standing galactic challenges. Alina's quantum communication network began to interface directly with the Assembly's communication systems, not as an invasion, but as an invitation. Delegates found themselves experiencing micro-transmissions of human problem-solving approaches. Your current model of galactic governance is a reactive system, Chen explained. Ours is proactive, adaptive, living. The assembly began to fragment. Some delegates were horrified. Others were intrigued. A few were experiencing what could only be described as a profound philosophical awakening. A Zhent-Harry diplomatic advisor, known for their cold, mathematical approach to interspecies relations, spoke. Your proposal defies every established protocol of first contact. Exactly, Alina responded. The quantum-projected hologram began to pulse with a living, breathing network of potential interactions. It wasn't just a presentation. It was a living demonstration of human potential. Zurak watched as his fellow delegates began to understand. Humans weren't just another species. They were a fundamental shift in galactic consciousness. We are not asking for permission, Alina said, her final statement resonating across multiple dimensional communication layers. We are offering transformation. The Galactic Confederation Assembly Hall would never be the same. Humanity had just redefined first contact. The fracture lines within the Galactic Confederation spread like a complex neural network, each delegation wrestling with the profound implications of humanity's unprecedented intervention. On Nexus Prime, the central administrative hub of galactic governance, entire communication networks collapsed and reformed. What had been a rigid hierarchical system was now becoming something fluid, unpredictable, alive. Ambassador Lyrek Thax of the Crystalline Resonance Collective found herself at the epicenter of this transformation. Her crystalline neural matrix, which had processed diplomatic interactions for 3 centuries, was experiencing something entirely unprecedented: genuine uncertainty. The human intervention is not a threat, she transmitted to her governing council, her communication laden with quantum-encrypted nuance. It is a fundamental restructuring of our understanding of collaborative existence. Deep within the administrative cores of various alien civilizations, something remarkable was happening. Humanity's quantum transmission had not just communicated information, it had introduced a virus of possibility. On the methane seas of Krill 9, an entire civilization of liquid-based intelligences began reimagining their technological infrastructure. The human approach to adaptive problem-solving was spreading like a conceptual wildfire, burning away centuries of calcified thinking. Zurak, now serving as a bridge between human understanding and galactic bureaucracy, worked tirelessly. His role was not just diplomatic. He was a living translation matrix, helping alien civilizations understand a fundamentally different approach to existence. They don't want to conquer, he would explain repeatedly. They want to collaborate. They see potential where we see boundaries. The Confederation's emergency sessions became something entirely new. No longer rigid parliamentary procedures, they transformed into dynamic problem-solving networks. Delegates found themselves experiencing collaborative thinking in ways they had never conceived. Dr. Alina Rodriguez monitored these interactions from her quantum control center, each transmission a delicate dance of possibility. She wasn't just observing, she was subtly guiding, introducing adaptive algorithms that encouraged cooperative thinking. General Marcus Chen focused on the potential security implications. The human approach wasn't about eliminating threat, it was about transforming the very concept of threat into opportunity. We're not changing their systems, he explained to his tactical team. We're showing them how their systems can change themselves. Technological exchange became the new currency of galactic interaction. Humanity's climate restoration technologies spread rapidly. Quantum communication networks began replacing traditional communication infrastructures. Adaptive governance models started replacing rigid hierarchical systems. The Krell-Naxian research collectives were the first to fully embrace the transformation. They began integrating human problem-solving approaches into their fundamental research methodologies. What had been linear, predictable research became a living, breathing exploration of possibility. Lyrek Thax discovered something profound. The human transmission had introduced a concept beyond technological exchange. It was an exchange of existential perspectives. Civilizations were not just sharing technology. They were sharing ways of understanding existence itself. Quantum networks began to pulse with a new kind of energy. Not just information exchange, but a living dialogue of potential. Each transmission carried not just data, but the possibility of transformation. We are witnessing the birth of a new galactic paradigm, Zurak reported to his former military commanders, and humanity is its midwife. The economic systems of various civilizations began to restructure. Traditional resource-based economies gave way to collaborative problem-solving networks. Value was no longer measured in material accumulation, but in adaptive potential. Elena's Quantum Control Center tracked these transformations. Each interaction was a delicate symphony of possibility, a complex dance of emerging potential. "They're learning," she whispered to herself. "They're actually learning." The Galactic Confederation was no longer a static bureaucratic entity. It was becoming a living, breathing network of collaborative potential. Boundaries between species began to blur, not through forced integration, but through genuine mutual understanding. Marcus Chen watched the emerging patterns with a strategist's eye. This was not conquest. This was not even diplomacy in its traditional sense. This was a fundamental reimagining of interspecies existence. Zurak understood something his fellow delegates were just beginning to comprehend. Humanity had not come to dominate. They had come to demonstrate a different way of being. As the transformation continued, one thing became increasingly clear. The galaxy would never be the same. And humanity had only just begun. The new Terra orbital station hung like a jewel against the starscape, a testament to humanity's new role in galactic civilization. It was more than a diplomatic hub. It was a living demonstration of collaborative potential. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the central observation deck, her quantum neural interface subtly monitoring thousands of concurrent interactions across multiple star systems. Beside her, General Marcus Chen reviewed the latest integration reports, his cybernetic eye processing data at speeds that would have been impossible mere decades ago. "We're not just a species anymore," Elena murmured. "We've become a network." The station itself was a marvel of interspecies engineering. Architectural elements from dozens of alien civilizations merged into a seamless whole. Quantum communication nodes pulsed like living arteries, connecting disparate worlds in a network of unprecedented complexity. Zurak approached, his crystalline exoskeleton now modified with human-developed adaptive interfaces. He was no longer just a diplomatic liaison. He was a living bridge between civilizations. "The Andromedan Cooperative has completed their first fully adaptive governance model," he reported. "They're using the human collaborative framework we developed during the initial transformation." Marcus studied the holographic display. What had once been a rigid hierarchical system was now a dynamic, fluid network of problem-solving potential. Governance had become a living, breathing entity that could adapt in real time to emerging challenges. A quantum transmission from the far reaches of the Magellan cluster caught Elena's attention. A previously isolated civilization had just completed its first successful planetary restoration project, using technologies developed through the human-initiated collaborative network. "Remember when they thought we were just another species to be cataloged?" Marcus asked, a rare smile crossing his augmented features. Elena's response was a quantum-encrypted burst of pure amusement. The new Terra station was more than a diplomatic center. It was a research hub, a technological exchange point, a living laboratory of interspecies potential. Laboratories worked on projects that would have been unimaginable a decade earlier. Climate restoration technologies merged with alien biomechanical engineering. Quantum communication networks integrated with exotic particle research. A delegation of Krill-Naxian researchers worked alongside human scientists, their liquid-based intelligence interfacing seamlessly with quantum computing systems. What had once been an incomprehensible alien form of life was now a collaborative partner in exploring the universe's deepest mysteries. Incoming transmission from the Galactic Core Research Collective, the station's AI announced. The holographic display revealed a breakthrough that would have been impossible under the old Galactic governance model. A joint research team had discovered a method of stabilizing quantum rifts, a problem that had defied solution for millennia. Zurak reviewed the data, his neural interfaces dancing across multiple dimensional layers of information. "This is why we changed," he said quietly. "Not for conquest, but for collective potential." The station's lower levels housed the Adaptive Solutions Network, a dynamic think tank that brought together the most innovative minds from across known space. Here, problems were not solved. They were transformed. Alina watched as a young human researcher collaborated with a silicon-based intelligence from the Outer Rim. Their communication was a complex dance of quantum interfaces, biological neural networks, and pure mathematical potential. "We're writing a new chapter of galactic existence," Marcus observed. The transformation was complete, yet ongoing. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had invited the galaxy to reimagine itself. Planetary restoration projects spread across multiple star systems. Adaptive technologies developed through collaborative research began solving challenges that had seemed insurmountable. Climate systems were healed. Resource distribution became a matter of collective optimization rather than competition. A transmission from Earth caught Alina's attention. The planet that had once been on the brink of ecological collapse was now a living testament to collaborative potential. Massive restoration projects had transformed entire continental ecosystems. Cities had become living, breathing networks of sustainable potential. "Full circle," Alina whispered. Zurak understood the profound nature of her statement. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed the very concept of survival. As the new Terra station continued its silent orbit, pulsing with quantum potential, one thing became clear. This was not an ending. This was just the beginning. The galaxy watched and learned.